So this time, I'm going to be posting a video. Sorry about that. I'm right with you guys. I'll be right back. I need to get the tools. How you doing, guys? Sorry about the mess. So this is gonna be hopefully the last time that we're wood turning here in the blacksmith shop, because obviously fire and sparks don't go well with wood. But Connex box. We'll move this lathe onto the bench, and then have a completely separate wood shop, woodworking area, so that way we can keep all these fine wood dust away from the blacksmith shop, and also have a better containment. So if there ever was an accidental fire in the wood shop, because there's going to be a lot of dry wood, it'll just be in a big metal box separate from the house. So this is going to be the second time I was trying to make the wand. So the first time I made a wand, we made mistakes. I forgot some of the tools that I were meant to make these grooves better. And this taper isn't the best, but it's a first one, and it could also be used to thwack some people. So this is the first one I made. I have learned a lot, and also need to utilize my tools. So now we're going to work on the second one. Now cherry, what I've learned, cherry likes to tear out. I have my tools pretty sharp, but I'm gonna have to do some experimenting and see if I just need to get them sharper. But I got this gouge nice and sharp. Just need to get my extension cords. But whatever wood lathe, electric wood lathe you get, I highly recommend that you get yourself a moment foot switch, so that way if you are wood turning and things go horribly wrong, once you step off of it, it stops spinning. That's a very good safety feature. Now, because me and my dad were cleaning the Conex box, we kind of had stuff put in different places, and we remembered. Luckily, while we were organizing, we found some more woodworking tools, which is nice. But if any of you guys know of any attachments or different plate things for this old Craftsman wood lathe, let me know, because I want to be able to get some better. And I'm going to make sure you guys get some good lighting, so I brought this light, which hopefully doesn't blind us. Not bad. I'm gonna move this. This is also my first time using this attachment to turn something, so I'm gonna start on the thicker end just to be on the safe side. I hope you guys are doing good. How are you guys doing? Yeah, the tool rest won't let me, I can't put it closer. I have it as close as it'll get it. Like it won't go any further. Unless, give me a second actually. Is there a chance I can move this stuff? Yeah, this is an old Craftsman. Still learning how this thing works, but this is as close as that goes. But I'm gonna see if this can be moved at all. Alright, this won't let me. Or, I see this other screw hole. Maybe I just have to put it over here. Shit. Still new to this tool. I'm still learning how this thing works, but I think you're right. I'd be able to, because this looks exactly like what I need it. Okay, good. So we will be able to do that. All right, that's nice. There we go. Okay, now we got it. Thank you. So now we can actually not be idiots. Well, I'm the idiot, guys. And thank you. Because I'm like, there's no way that this is the only way that this thing, you know, there's no way that this is how close, as close as it gets. So luckily, all right, that's good. There we go. Thank you. Thank you, big dog. Yeah, no, this is literally, I've only done turning like once or twice before on this machine, but a friend of mine that owns. So I didn't even take a look at his setup of how this whole thing works. But yeah, I definitely want the tool closer so I don't have more control. Big dog, does Cherry like to tear out a lot, or do I just have a dull ass tool? Like I've been sharpening it, and like like this could cut my finger pretty good. What's your thoughts on Cherry for turning? Because this is Cherry. Does it like to tear out, like, instead of it like making like smooth shavings, it kind of likes to chip out with the gouge? All right. We're a little bit. All right, there we go. Big Dog, does my tool seem like it's doing okay, or do you think I need to make it a little bit sharper? Like, are these like normal chips to get with cherry, or should I be getting like more longer strips or something? I'm still figuring this stuff out because I want to be able to make handles. I'm not just making wizard wands, but like I want to be able to. The reason why I got this, I want to be able to turn wood bowls, but also I can not easily, but I can figure out blanks and forge out these tools. I want to be able to make tooling and stuff. Yeah, this is at the slower speed. So I think if I just go up one more pulley, that would be a better speed. Yeah, I'm gonna unplug this so we don't hurt ourselves. Yeah, I got the smallest pulley to the biggest pulley, so I'll go up another pulley. We'll see how that is for speed. Yeah, we put this on this stand, but we realized if we clear out the Connex / shipping container, we'll be able to. All right, I'm just gonna touch up this tool on the belt grinder. I got a 120. No. Yeah, look at that. workpiece is a lot better. It feels. Oh yeah, that feels a lot sharper. It's about the boringness. Oh, cool. Just be careful. Thank you for joining me while I turn. So, kind of had to change the angle of my tool thing. I'm gonna try to make like a little jig so I can sharpen stuff easier, but oh yeah, I unplugged it for safety. Oh, that's a good thing though. Yeah, Big Dog, I want to be able to forge tools, like not just, I'm working on, once we get this lathe in the Connex storage area tomorrow, I'm going to be working on the power hammer. I've been meaning to get that done, but now that Brimfield's done, I'm going to work on it. I'm still going to be forging the end of this month. I'm going to be going to Wachusett Mountain Oktoberfest, so I got to make a bunch more bottle openers and a bunch of other cool stuff. But I want to work on the power hammer because before October rolls around, I want to have it mostly done so that way I can forge. I want to forge small hatchets and hammers, and also I want to be able to make some low layer Damascus. It is a lot sharper, and that higher speed is nice. So I went up one pulley size. This pulley has only has 4 different things. This should be a good speed, right? Or should I have it a little bit? Yeah, I want to be able to make my own chisels, but also I want to be able to make my own so I can get used to them, learn where I need to make things better. But then I want to be able to actually make wood turning tools. Basically, I want to make hardware, door pulls, drawer pulls, hooks, other stuff. I also want to make tooling and tools because I like stuff, knives. Not everyone likes knives or wants knives, but tools are useful. Tools can help people make things. And, it'll diversify the things I'm going to be able to sell on my Etsy. I want to, be able to offer people multiple different things and go from there. I need to. Yeah, it's cutting smoother. Yeah, and the good thing once we have this, because I work the night shift, luckily I won't be doing any more doubles for the most part. But I can go home and then I could live stream me wood turning something a little bit. And because it's separate from the house, it won't wake up my grandmother or my dad. And hopefully, it shouldn't be too loud, wood turning. So I should be able to do it without pissing off the neighbors because we got neighbors like really close. Thank you, man. Yeah, so like I moved in with my dad and grandmother after my mom lost my mom to suicide, and my grandmother loved forging fire, so she let me start forging. And now the garage is no longer a garage; it's a shop. The redneck shuttle hammer. It's very much MacGyvered put together. But my goal is I want to be able to grow the blacksmithing business and YouTube stuff, and I really want to move to New Hampshire, and because that way I could get like a ranch house or something, and I wouldn't have neighbors for like 1,000 yards or half a mile. Yeah. And people are surprised I can talk about it without crying, but like the first like 6 months, I cried a river. Like me and my dad, we were self mediators for each other. But blacksmithing definitely helped me. There's actually a cool. I gotta look up the name. I also want to be able to travel. Like that's like one of my goals. Like besides you know being able to have like a place to live and other stuff. Like I want to be able to grow the business and YouTube stuff because I'd love to travel and like visit people's shops and other stuff. But somewhere in north of South Carolina, there's a uh, there's a blacksmith shop. It's meant for veterans and people with PTSD, and they actually went. I forgot which medical school, but they actually did like MRI and like brain scan testing, and they found that the steps and skills needed for blacksmithing, forging, and also like crafting something, the plans that you have to step out, it's able to unlock the brain and keep it from being stuck in the fight or flight, PTSD mode, and it helps people. And that's cool. I would love to be able to like do that. Mm, sorry. I'd love to be able to do that. Yeah, right now I work security full time, but I'd love to be able to do this blacksmith thing, educational and historical videos like for full time. It's gonna take probably a couple more years, or if I get lucky and happen to do a subject that people love, but so. Yeah, that's why I'm getting this tool. Because one of the things I learned, I don't know the name. I might have the name on that. It doesn't say what it is, but I don't know how deep this spindle thing goes, so I'm just trying to make it. Just want to make sure everything's nice and tight. Alright, so gotta keep that right around there. So we got that. I would like this to go there. I don't need much practice with this tool. Let's see how this one is. Oh, that's, I need to adjust the table. Oh, a little bit too close for that. Make sure that clears. just a little bit. Trying to use this tool. I haven't used it yet, but this back end is going to be a handle part. This is going to get tapered down more. Okay, so that does clean that up, so I'll be using it later. Big Dog, do you recommend wearing like a dust mask, or is it because cherry and like most normal hardwoods aren't bad to breathe in? Like I'm not sanding right now, so I'm just using the chipper. What's your advice there? This tool, this one's a different one. That should work the same. is a bigger gouge, which I like. Trying to find tape measure because I actually want to try to this thing. I need to use more than 2 brain cells to make this. So I'm going to use a tape measure. If I can find the damn thing. Where's the tape measure? I got big gouge, medium gouge, a little gouge. So I got a little gouge because I bought a different lathe. I got a. Have you ever heard of the like the workshop or what all that other thing is? But it's before that. GE made a thing called the GE workshop. It's a wood lathe. The mine didn't have the attachment, but it has an attachment. It's a double-ended GE motor, and the opposite end, it had the ability where you could attach a saw blade and cut stuff, and then on the lathe side, you'd be able to attach like a attachment that's for a scroll saw. That was my first lathe, but the issue was because it was literally made like between the 1930s and 40s. The chuck, it was like a weird 5/8, and it had like a number 13 pitch thread. So like the only way I could be able to get one of these kind of chucks for it is I would have to get like a weird thing. And then they got the angle tools. Got this one, and I got a bunch of other stuff. I'm gonna try this. Not that one. Oh, I also got another small one too. I didn't realize how many of these I had. I got like 2 different sets of Craftsman wood turning tools. And I'm not complaining because these are nice. So we got the big one. Yeah, so a couple things of gouges. And then I'll just put these over here. Yeah, I got a couple different sizes of gouges. Yeah, I don't think I have a bowl gouge or spindle gouge, but I might try making one. Is a bowl gouge just a gouge that's like curved, so that way you can go in and turn the inside? Tiny one. This is the medium one. Where's my tape measure? Alright, I can't find the tape measure. There's too much junk everywhere. So I'm just gonna have to wing this. I got like 4-inch wide palm, so this is where the pinky's gonna go. So I'm gonna make it right around there. Oh, that came loose. Luckily, I stopped before anything catastrophic happened. We don't have a proper that's still there. This came loose. Yeah, I forgot I unplugged it. Hopefully that won't come undone. Hey, keep it light. You're so whiny. Yeah, I don't have a. I gotta get a live tailstock. This is just a static tailstock. I don't think the oil will do anything, but. You're such a whiner. Well, that fixed it. That's good. I did not want to hear that whining bullshit. I don't know if this gouge is not as sharp as the other ones. I had that other one. Oh, there we go. I want to see if this is nice and sharp. It goes away. Yeah, like it's tearing out, so I don't know if this is. Because in here it's nice and smooth, but then this side's like all. Let me. Trying to see if I can zoom in. Can you see how like fuzzy it is? Like rough? Like in here. when I did this, this is like fairly smooth, but then over here it's like rough. Does that just mean my tool's dull as shit? Or is it just this cherry just wants to tear out a lot? What's your thoughts on it, big dog? Maybe the small gouges were a little bit sharper, had a pointier bit. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to get a good angle. Accidentally messed this one up, but we'll see how it is. Yeah, I'm gonna increase the speed a little bit. I think more belt should do it. I'm gonna change the speed one time. I'll take this one. Oh, before we get too crazy with the other stuff, I'm gonna bring this down. So that's where that's supposed to be. I got big hands, so that'll fit good. So that won't hit. Before we do anything with this, we will take the little angle thing, whatever it's called. This thing. Put this back. closer. That should do it. That there. Alright, everything clogged. Nope. There we go, work faster. This tool. Gonna get a little bit closer because this tool is different, and I want to make sure that we're also at the right height. The reason why I'm working on the handle now is because before we get the rest of the wand too thin, we need to do the bulk of the work on the handle because that's the thickest part, has the most support, and while this is still fairly thick and not too flexible, like it is a little bit flexible, but not as bad as it will be once we thin it down. That's why I'm doing this. Okay, definitely going deeper with these. It's looking like something nice. Because now I know what tools do what, and this is the first one I made. This one's going to be a little bit shorter because this is the stock that my dad cut up, but the handle is going to be a lot nicer. I'm still going to try to go for a similar end. It's not going to quite be as big because this was made from way too big of a piece of stock, and but we're getting there. Wrong thing. All right, we gotta go. Come on. We're not gonna thin this end just yet because that'll be too flexible. I'm gonna go back here. All right, we're gonna go have you guys here. Oh shit. Make sure you guys get good lighting. Oh, it'd be better if it's up at the right height. A little bit too much light, so. I'll try this back over here. That way. I'm not trying to make a specific one, just something that I've seen in Harry Potter, similar, but my own take of it. You're a wizard, Harry, and I'm an alcoholic. That's why I have a motorcycle. That's a true quote by Hagrid. You're a wizard, Harry. Pass another bear. You're a wizard, Harry. Over here. Thank you. Thank you, Big Dog. Yeah, I ended up turning the speed up a couple of things, and it's still the cherry still likes to be rough and like tear out a little bit, but now it's a faster speed. It is cutting smoother, and now that I'm able to use the tools, like the last one I made, I forgot about using the. Come on. Ah. I'm gonna grab the wrong damn tool. This little V-bit to get in between the lines that I made with the other tool that put the lines in. I forgot about that tool, so that's why, once I cut this off the thing, I was like, ah, shit, I'm not able to. So this was the first one. I didn't have any character in it because I ended up cutting the end off, thinking I could just chuck one end in because I was really trying to make two wands, but I need a longer piece of wood to do that. But this one's turning out a lot better. Let me see if I can get this closer. I'm trying to get the too close. All right, that'll work. Yeah, at these faster speeds, it cuts a lot better. So I'm just going to. Made a little mistake, but that's fine. Yeah, it's going out a lot better. I'm getting the hang of it. I learn quick. Yeah, I don't have it at the fastest speed, but this is cutting a lot smoother. You know, it's not really tearing out. Also, these bits luckily are sharp, or you know, as sharp as they can be. That's the tire can. That's going to be part of the power hammer. Gonna work on that this week. Yeah, the handle. Luckily, I started oversized, so that way I'll be able to refine it. Yeah, I got some 60 grit, and then I'm gonna go to up the grit as I go up. Right now, I'm just trying to get the taper I want. I'm gonna get my dust mask. Yeah, the mask on because getting dusty. Sorry guys, I had to do surgery on my my mask. So a while ago, last month, I welded up something and I had to wear my mask just to try to not inhale too many fumes. I put my mask down, but my mask was too close to the part and this thing fell and it melted right through the thing. So I had to get some more duct tape because it keeps on coming undone. But
I think the 60 grit is too much. So I'm just gonna go to 100 grit because the 60 grit feels rougher than what I got with the cut. So. Thank you, man. You want to cry? Look at the prices. This is $5. This was made in 2008 during the housing crisis. I was just a kid not knowing what the fuck was going on. Where does it say 2008? It says it here somewhere. Yeah, I can see. I missed these prices. I just didn't know about them when I was a kid. Thank you, man. I'm still new, but once I figured out the tools, obviously this one's a little bit shorter than this one, but the next one's going to be an actual really long wand. But you can see the handle. My dad made smaller stock. I should have left this end a little bit bigger, but this is a more like normal size wand. but look how much better once I figured out the right tooling. I'm keeping the mask on because it's dusty as shit right now. So I kind of accidentally varnished it, or I wore through the sandpaper and it started polishing it, but we can still see these sand lines. So I'm going to go up to like a 220, because even though it's nice and shiny, they got those sanding lines. So I'm going to take those out. So we're going to go to 220. I can find the shit. What's up with this? All right. It's kind of hard to see. Thank you guys though. We kind of varnished it, but you see those lines? We're gonna get those lines out. So we got 220. we're gonna go to 400. It already feels really good in the hand. I don't think we need to go any higher. Can you take me higher? Yeah, I'm in the state where Fallout 4 takes place. Honestly, the Fallout 4 universe version of my state would be a lot better than, because you could at least have a choice. I'm not feeling it long, I'll try. So now I'm going to try to varnish this. It's a thing I learned with bow making. So it's nice and smooth. So I'm going to use the back side of this. So it is kind of polishing it, but it's also like compressing the wood and like friction. I might be able to chuck this in here. I'm gonna have to figure that out. I might not. You can see how much that polished up the varnishing, you know, it just compresses the wood grain. But let me see if I can chuck it in. If I can't, I won't. I'll just cut the tip off and then carefully sand. I don't think I'll be able to chuck this. Or maybe I can if I put it. Nope. All right, so I'm just gonna cut the tip off and just carefully hand sand that. So Sorry, I'm always misplacing stuff. I'm also tired. I'm going to be going to bed really soon. Where the heck did I put this damn saw? I just had the saw. What is the saw? So all I gotta do is just round that and cut that off. There we go. It's hiding in plain sight. What I was trying to avoid, but I'll be able to file this off. The Shinto rasp to the rescue. So I just gotta get this cut end off. Just using a fine What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of tape on this end and I'll chuck this in the drill and we can use some sandpaper. That should work. If I have the drill. Where is the drill? Just give me a minute. I'm looking for the drill. We can't do anything without the drill. It goes away. I know your pain. Sorry guys, I'm just looking for the damn drill bit. The drill. Okay, give me a second.
I need to find the drill. So I just want the drill so I can chuck this end into the drill, and that way we can sand this right end and get it nice and polished. And then this we can just do by hand and get there. But we're going to show you. Now this one isn't as big ass as the first big ass one, so this is the first one. This is the second one, but it's because my dad made the stock size more agreeable. It's only a little bit shorter, but you can see I learned a lot more with the handle and using the right tooling. Versus here, this actually looks better. And also, I got this sanded up to like 400 grit, but I used the backside of one of the sandpaper to like polish slash varnish, because like wood grain is compressible. That's one of the things I learned when I used to make bows, is you can compress the wood grain with friction. So like some old pieces of wood, they didn't have buffing wheels, so they're able to just use, you know, a hard piece of bone or whatever. But because the lathe spins pretty fast, we're able to get it polished. So this is kind of more like a normal size one, but this is nice and beefy. So I'm just trying to find, we're kind of in the middle of moving and cleaning stuff. Just trying to find the drill. And if I can't find the drill, then okay, oh well. Yeah, I can't find the drill, so it would be a lot faster if I was able to do this with the drill, but we're just gonna obviously, when I get a proper like pen chuck or like an adapter chuck for this thing, I'll be able to actually fully make everything equally polished and all that stuff. That was just a 100 grit. Do the same for the tip. Just but once I get a better pen chuck, because that's just a bowl and handle chuck. But what do you guys think for my second ever wizard wand? This one's not quite as big ass as the first one, but it is a lot more elegant. You know, the handle's a lot better. Obviously, like I like this handle too. Like I like this bigger butt to it, but this is more, you know. Wingardium Leviosa. Wingardium Leviosa. Hey, Peter. Hey, Peter. I'm a wizard, but my legs don't work. uh, but yeah, in the morning I'll be able to find the drill and polish it, both these ends. But yeah, tomorrow, me and Dad will be finished organizing the storage container / Connex box, and we'll be putting this wood lathe in there, so that way we don't have to have wood dust in the garage where the forging it happens. Because you want to keep woodworking and metalworking separate, just because, you know, sparks and flammable stuff do not mix when you don't want them to. And as I get better with making these, I'll be able to actually put more, you know, figure out stuff. How you doing, Jasmine? Yeah, I'm always looking for stuff. Kind of in the midst of organizing. I'll be able to work or find this tomorrow, but I'm gonna flip you guys around. But I hope you guys enjoyed. So we made a lot of progress. This was the first big ass wizard wand. This one's a bit bigger because my dad made the stock size smaller, but a more manageable diameter, so we could actually not take an hour and a half to turn 2 inches of wood into this. But I got more confidence, so I was making a mistake of having too low of a speed. So with a higher speed, my tools cut better, and of course it sands better. But I also use the right tool, so once I use the whatever that angle one that cuts a little thin but deep line, I then went back and used a little V groove one to widen them, and I finally figured out how to have the tool rest closer, so really happy. So, and this isn't even finished with any wax or anything. This is just polished from the burnishing. I'm still going to sand this more because I see a lot of lines that I don't want, so I'll just do some hand sanding. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. You be safe, have fun, make some cool stuff. That was way too loud. I pissed off my neighbors.